Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Leading the news tonight, a man in his 30s has been killed after being hit by a train in Burnie. Police don't believe the death is suspicious, but they're asking for the public's help to locate the personal items of the victim, who they believe was homeless.
A tragic start to the day for rail workers in the northwest. Early this morning, Tasrail employees found the body of a 36-year-old West Coast man at the Marine Terrace depot.
Around about 5:10 this morning, police and emergency services were contacted by Tasrail, who alerted them to a discovery.
The workers found the body while unloading freight off the train. Police say the man gained entry into a prohibited area by climbing fences and was likely struck by a train carriage during the operation.
We believe the incident occurred around about 4:55 this morning.
The train driver and other support workers have been interviewed by officers and will be receiving further support from Tasrail. Police now trying to locate a suitcase belonging to the victim.
It's known that this man was believed to be in possession of a black suitcase in and around the Burnie area, which we haven't been able to locate at this stage.
Officers urging people to remember to be safe around trains and railways.
In circumstances like these, trains can't swerve and it takes a significant distance for one to stop. So please urge that never enter onto any active rail tracks, especially if trains are in operation.
Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
The Premier's put a shaky week in Parliament behind him, saying he's confident he can keep his minority government together. Liberal backbencher turned rogue independent John Tucker has claimed there's further divisions within his old party.
I'm confident that, of course, with both John and Lara, we all get on well, and I'm sure we can have a very strong working relationship moving forward.
The Deputy Premier, Michael Ferguson, denies claims he is preparing to challenge for the top job. In a major coup, a Tasmanian company will build 7 ferries destined for Sydney. Hobart-based firm Richardson Divine Marine Shipbuilders has been awarded the construction tender for the vessels bound for the Parramatta River. The New South Wales government committing almost $50 million towards building the Tasmanian-made fleet.
We've prided ourselves over the last 34 years of progressively developing our company to build high-quality, long-lasting, through-life, logical passenger ferries. Construction
starts in a matter of weeks. Tasmania's lengthy waiting lists are under the microscope, with increasing demand for human services. Unveiling a tech transformation, the Premier has branded it the end of the dark ages.
The old way of doing things is being torn up.
It really is about moving our health system out of the dark ages. No more faxes. Emails are a thing of the past.
Introducing a new e-referral system at all major hospitals.
The doctor will submit the referral and that will go to a triage centre and the clinicians will then triage that and allocate obviously the referral accordingly.
Part of a $500,000 digital health transformation that will soon integrate Ambulance Tasmania and emergency department information.
Being able to share that information from the GP right the way through the hospital system and then back out into care in that virtual context is far more efficient.
To ensure that our patients get more timely care and spend less time on waiting lists.
Waiting lists in schools are drawing Labor's ire, blasting dire staff shortages among psychologists, social workers and speech pathologists.
There's 21.8 vacancies across the system when it comes to support staff, and we're seeing ratios that are far too high.
Drawing a link to school suspensions and demanding action.
We could see a more active recruitment strategy. We could see incentives to come and work within the department. We could see incentives to stay.
A department spokesperson said the government is investing additional funds in professional support staff, and a new recruitment and retention officer began last year. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
The jury in the trial of a Swansea couple accused of killing their former son-in-law will resume deliberations tomorrow. Nolene and Cedric Jordan have pleaded not guilty to the 2009 murder of Shane Barker. The jury spent 4 hours deliberating today and will return tomorrow morning. The trial has been underway since mid-April. A Sprayton man whose business was raided last month by police has appeared in the Devonport Magistrates Court. Dean Shane Ivory has pleaded not guilty to multiple firearm, drugs and assault charges. Today he pleaded not guilty to one count of driving a motor vehicle whilst a prescribed illicit drug is present in oral fluid. He is scheduled to reappear on August 15. And a 32-year-old Claremont man allegedly behind one of Tasmania's largest individual drug busts fronted the Supreme Court today. Jai Mark Baldwin pleaded guilty to drug trafficking last month after authorities at Hobart Airport allegedly found more than $4 million worth of methamphetamine and cocaine in his checked luggage. The prosecution told the court Mr Baldwin was importing the illicit substances to pay off more than $30,000 worth of drug debt. He has been remanded in custody and will reappear on July 4. An independent review into allegations of race fixing and animal cruelty in the state's harness racing industry has been extended by 8 weeks. Investigator Ray Murray wrote to the government to ask for the extension, which has been granted. His report is now due at the end of August. The trainer at the centre of the review has repeatedly refuted the allegations and denied any wrongdoing. The morning commute was interrupted in Launceston after a bus broke down and blocked the corner of Cemetery and Charles Streets just after 8:30. Motorists were advised to find another route after a large amount of oil spilled onto the road. The intersection reopened 2 hours later. Fresh numbers show Dark Mofo has been a light for the state's event sector once again. Interstate visitors accounted for 65% of ticket sales, with a total of 100,000 sold. In Creative Director Lee Carmichael's final year, there was an estimated 427,000 entries to festival events. Dates for Dark Mofo 2024 will be announced later this year. Gretna has a new attraction after a group of arborists spent the day spray painting what was otherwise an insignificant tree to give it purpose. The blue trunk is one of 11 across the state, prompting mental health discussions as part of a global project.
Giving new life to old oak. The Tasmanian Arboricultural Organisation coating a tree trunk on Norton Mandeville Farm blue.
We both really don't know much about painting, but we were willing to give it a crack, so got up there and had a bit of a laugh and had a bit of a conversation while we're up there.
It's Tasmania's way of contributing to the Blue Tree Project, which started in Western Australia in tribute of a young man who took his own life in 2018. Nearly 1,000 blue trees are now registered worldwide to spark the conversation around mental health.
A big part of, society these days is creating awareness for mental health.
It's really important, especially in an industry like arboriculture, which is predominantly men, and the occurrence of suicide in men is remarkably higher, so I think it's definitely worth talking about.
Responsible Wood backing the initiative with a $4,500 grant. Local companies also chipping in to supply paint and equipment for the day.
The grant covered us for 2 trees, but the community has been so supportive that we now have money to paint another one.
Ideas now sprouting for where that tree might be. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's food culture will soon take centre stage, with Agricultured making its return to Launceston. Now in its 3rd year, the event celebrates the growing agri-food sector.
From paddock to plate, local producers will pull up a chair, immersing the community into their world of agri-food culture.
They get to take off the boots, shake off all the dirty clothes, get dressed up and get to relax, but also give them a little pat on the back because they deserve it.
From dining experiences to culinary tours, Agricultured will cook up a jam-packed menu offering 4 days of insights and delights from August 3rd to 6th.
It's a shining example of UNESCO City of Gastronomy Launceston Northern Tasmania designation and how we're really celebrating that with the food and agricultural community.
The festival hopes to recognise the sector's contribution to the state's economy, culture and community.
Us as consumers understanding what the producers actually do and sharing in that whole agritourism experience, which is really growing.
This is something that we get to kind of talk about once a year. It's a great opportunity for the community to come along and see what we do.
Mixing together all the right ingredients to enjoy a taste of Tassie. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanians are being urged to take a look at their lifestyle choices as Dry July inches closer. The Cancer Council is participating in the initiative for a 15th year to raise awareness and funds for its information and support line. They say it's also a good opportunity to incorporate more healthy habits into daily routines, including frequent exercise and a nourishing diet.
Think about the other important things that you could do to actually substitute your alcohol, or indeed if you don't drink, think about those other things that you still might do to have a healthy lifestyle.
The organisation is hoping to raise between $80,000 and $100,000 statewide.
And with the state's best players preparing to pull on the map and face Queensland, they've received a call to arms from former representative and Tasmanian Football Hall of Famer Nick Probert.
When you take on a lot more than just playing for the state in that game, there's the history and tradition of all of the teams that have represented the state that you represent when you play.
Teams for Saturday's doubleheader at North Hobart Oval will be announced on Wednesday. To the Crips TSL Player of the Year votes now after round 12. Glenorchy's Blake Waite received the 3 votes for his performance against Launceston, while North Launceston's Alex Lee was voted as the best player in their game against North Hobart. And in the match between Clarence and Kingborough, it was an all-Tiger affair with Elijah Reardon getting the 3 votes. To the leaderboard now, and Lauderdale's Sam Siggins retains a 1-vote lead over Kingborough's Jack Tompkinson. His teammate Lockie Clifford is in 3rd. The Hobart Hurricanes have locked in their first new signing ahead of the upcoming Big Bash season. Peter Hatzoglu will jump aboard the Cane train, coming off back-to-back titles with the Perth Scorchers. The experienced leg spinner joins forces with last season's Colt sensation, Paddy Dooley.
It's a direct message and a warning at the same time, I suppose. We're really excited to get together, and we'll definitely bring something that I don't think anyone's really seen before.
A T20 specialist, Hatzoglu is currently in the UK playing for Glamorgan. South Hobart coach Ken Morton has lauded his side after winning a 7-goal thriller. An 89th minute wonder goal from Jackson Dent was the difference as the battle for second place in the league continues.
I think the take from the game was it was an exciting game of football for 2 teams who had a lot to play for.
Failed to get a decent amount of pressure on it, and if you don't do that inside 20 yards, you leave yourself vulnerable.
It was a successful weekend for South, the women winning 4-0 over Kingborough and continuing their unbeaten season.
It definitely feels like when teams come to play us, they come to play. Like, they really turn it up, which is good. Like, we want the challenge and the competition.
11 rounds in, they are yet to lose a game.
Good evening. Launceston and Devonport both 15 today, 14 for Burnie and 13 for the state's capital. The highest rainfall was reported at Cape Grim with 44 millimetres. St Helens, the state's top today with 16 degrees. King Island, Wynyard, Lowhead, Friendly Beaches and Ooze all 14. Maria Island, Flinders Island and Strawn all 13. 12 for Grove and 5 for Lyweenie. Cloudy conditions for western, southern and central Tasmania and clearer skies in the northeast. The satellite shows an extensive band of cloud with embedded thunderstorms extending from northwestern WA across central Australia and down to South Australia. There are also areas of cloud over southeastern and southwestern parts of the country. Tomorrow shows a cold front approaching the state from the west. A couple of troughs lie over northern, western and central Australia, while an area of high pressure persists over New South Wales. West to northwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, reaching up to 30 knots about the west, south and northeast during the evening. Swells in the west and south, west to southwesterly 2.5 to 3.5 metres, otherwise mild conditions. There is a strong wind warning for east of Flinders Island to St Helens Point and also from Wineglass Bay to Sandy Cape. A minor flood warning continues for the North and South Esk rivers. Tomorrow, Hobart 14 with a late shower or two. Adventure Bay 13, 9's the top for Tarraleah. Launceston and Devonport both 14, 13 for Bridport. Looking to the west, Burnie, Strawn and Marrawar all 13 with showers. St Helens sunny 14, Swansea 15 also sunny and becoming windy in Whitemark. And to the 3-day forecast, Wednesday showers, although little in the northeast and east, snow falling to 500 metres, with possible small hail in the west and far south, and patchy morning frost about inland areas. Thursday showers about the west and far south, mainly fine elsewhere. Snow also falling to 900 metres in the morning, and another frost can be expected in the northeast. Friday showers about western, southern and central areas, mainly fine elsewhere. To the mainland tomorrow, Perth 16, Cairns 29 and partly cloudy. Cloudy conditions also for Sydney, Melbourne 15. And currently in Hobart it's partly cloudy and 9, mostly clear in Launceston also 9, Devonport partly cloudy and 10. Kim, some milder conditions seen across the state today.
Have a great evening everyone. For now, it's good night.